The pre-version of Deuteronomy 28:68 by the so-called Black Hebrew Israelites. God's in the Bible version of Deuteronomy 28:68 reads, "And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way thereof I spake unto thee. You shall see it no more again. And y'all shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you." So-called Black Hebrew Israelites pre-version of Deuteronomy 28:68. "And the Lord shall bring thee into America, or bondage, again with ships, by the way modern man-made civilization I did not spake unto thee. And you shall see Israel no more again, and y'all shall be sold unto your future enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and man shall buy you." According to the Black Hebrew Israelites, America is proven to be Egypt because on the back of the $1 bill there is an Egyptian pyramid. Everyone knows the pyramid is a Freemasonry symbol that represents strength and duration. The Israelites who were to be taken to Egypt again with ships and the Deuteronomy passage were to come from Israel and not the jungles of Africa. The Israelites would be taken from where they rejected God back into the land of Egypt where they had come out. It is a total falsehood to make Israel into Africa and apply the Israelite bondage to black slavery in America. What I mean here is, if black Americans were Israelites, and this Deuteronomy text applies to them, then they had to be in America as slaves, then go to Israel/Africa in their sin, and then be brought back to America and sold as slaves. This absolutely has not happened. According to them, the slave ships from Africa that brought blacks to America was the transportation of black Israel to America. And they quote Deuteronomy 28:68. They claim these black Israelites were sold to their enemies, the white people. From this misinterpretation, Black Hebrew Israelites spread the racism that all white people are enemies of blacks, and this makes them enemies of those who claim they are black Israelites. I guess this applies to blacks that are married to whites, blacks that are supported by whites, like music, sports, and movie stars, blacks that get hired by whites, blacks that have white friends. I mean anything. Come on, people, put your racial pride aside. It's obvious the devil is behind this, just as he has been with any racism anywhere by anybody. You may think Egypt means bondage in the Bible, because some people, man, say it's called house of bondage in the Bible, but in fact it's not. If it was calling Egypt the house of bondage, then it would simply say Egypt the house of bondage. But it don't. For example, Exodus 22 brought thee out of the land of Egypt, comma, then says out of the house of bondage. Notice, it refers to them both, out of, with a comma in between both parts of the verse, referring to the Israelites coming out two different places, out of the land of Egypt and out of the house of bondage inside Egypt. Egypt means and refers to the land Egypt, the nation. The house of bondage refers to the house of bondage inside Egypt, not Egypt itself. God meant Egypt the land in the verse of Deuteronomy 28:68. It's even two different Hebrew words used for Egypt and bondage in the Hebrew Bible. It's dated in known history. The Roman Empire expelled the Israelites in 70 AD and shipped them through the Mediterranean Sea to Europe and sold them throughout the empire. Romans had rule over Egypt at this time of the Roman Empire expelling the Israelites in 70 AD. The Roman rule over Egypt began in 30 BC, became a province of the Roman Empire. The Roman rule over Egypt ended in 641 AD. The Romans had rule over Egypt in 70 AD. That's why Deuteronomy 28:68 says, "No man shall buy you." And they shipped a large number of the Israelites, Jews, to Egypt through the Mediterranean Sea, offered them to the Egyptian Roman rulers of Egypt, the Israelites' real ancient enemies. In this picture, the black line, you can see the actual path the Roman Empire took to ship the Israelites to Rome and to Egypt through the Mediterranean Sea. The so-called Black Hebrew Israelites say, why would they ship them there? Israel is right by Egypt. Guess you've never been there. Well, we are talking about ancient times. The better question would be, why not ship them there? Would be a lot easier than walking prisoners all those miles through the hot desert. Israel to Cairo, Egypt, is 194 miles. When the Romans and Egyptians had great ships, they were shipping them to Rome anyways. And throughout the empire around the Mediterranean Sea. See, the Roman Empire was perfect to expel the Israelites in 70 AD for the first step of being scattered, because the Roman Empire was the most powerful empire of that time. And the Roman Empire had rule over so many nations around the Mediterranean Sea. The Israelites did not flee over 200 miles from Israel across into Egypt through the desert without the Roman Empire chasing and catching them, or the Egyptian Roman rulers and the Egyptians catching them, and make it across or all the way around the Nile River, and then make it all the way to West Africa and hide out there for over 1,000 years. It did not happen. The Roman Empire expelling them was the first step of them actually being scattered to each main continent on that side of the world. Them taking them as prisoners and selling them throughout the empire as slaves and servants. That's how they first started being scattered. Go to Israel and walk to Egypt. Seriously. Good luck. Again, I showed a picture. The black line shows the path from Israel to Rome and to Egypt. The so-called Black Hebrew Israelites got to twist, change meaning in words of the Bible verse to fit. And it still don't make sense. The Jews do not. They fit the Bible verses of Deuteronomy without changing a word or meaning. It's just all their history is not in modern times from being expelled in 70 AD. Okay? Some of it is before America was ever founded. And I know the majority of you so-called Black Hebrew Israelites are modern Americans. You are an American citizen in America in modern times. And I know in America, they mostly teach American history. Okay? They don't teach all of Jews' history because a lot of it will fall into a religion aspect. But they teach all of Black American history because it's American. Okay, so I'm sure y'all are experts on your own history in America from arrival. But Jews' history is not all taught in American schools. The Jews was actually scattered. I know the printed version of this video says 42 nations. But I have counted up to 50 so far. 50 nations. Some in every continent. How many nations do Black Americans have history in? Or even all blacks in the Atlantic slave trade have history in? Nowhere close. Okay, we're talking about more nations than states in the United States that Jews have history in. After getting expelled, Jews' history starts from 70 AD until now. Black Americans' history starts from around the 1600s, or if you want to start from the Atlantic slave trade until now, if you count all that was in it. And sure, Americans learn all of Black Americans' history. It's American modern history. And people did buy Black American slaves, and all black slaves for that matter, but I'll stick to the American ones for now. Right here you see $1,200 to $1,250 for Negroes. Black American slaves was sold, and people did buy them. People did pay for them and purchase them. I already showed earlier in this video how Jews was shipped to Egypt again by ships through the Mediterranean Sea, and there sold to their enemies, their actual enemies, the Egyptians and the Romans. And that is the Roman Empire that expelled the Israelites in 70 AD had rule over Egypt through that time, making it a part of the Roman Empire. And that's how this verse makes sense. Okay? And it's not that I'm racist. Because if I was racist, I went ahead took all this time. Okay, what you're seeing now is everything that I have found out. But I took a lot of time going over everything because at first I thought it was possible, and some stuff I did believe, and I wanted to see if it was correct or not. You know, it's not that I'm racist. I'm not attacking any black people personally. Okay, I mean, there has been some that have said some pretty negative stuff to me, and I have responded like, no, you're wrong, you know, that's you, you're calling me this stuff, you know, stuff like that. I encourage you to watch the rest of my videos, ask questions. All I ask is you don't flood my comments. Okay, leave a couple comments, let me respond, and you respond back. Okay, and don't leave a bunch of negative stuff, a bunch of stuff that's way off topic or attacking me personally. Okay, because that's what true propaganda is. Stick to the topic. That's all I ask. Peace.